right, welcome to the lab. We are live from San Diego. Casey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, Leon. Yeah, thanks for being here on the hottest day of the year.
We know how to pick them. We got to see the Padres mount not a victorious, but
No.
a glorious comeback attempt.
Attempted comeback.
Yeah,
What a strange game that was.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it was fun though. Had a
it's
good
fun.
time. Yeah.
It's fun. But thank you so much for having me. San Diego's awesome. It's a city I love to come to. It's, deja vu moment here, and I've been in this area. Um, Got to be 6, 7 years ago, but yeah, it's good to be here. Spend some time with you and visit the studio. So
Really, really happy to have you here.
perfect. So the reason for our video, I feel like we could do a slightly better job at communicating some of the things that are happening behind the scenes and kind of give people an outlet to have open lines of communication if they want to voice any concerns, questions.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that we talked about, that we connected about yesterday, was I think we need to do a better job at celebrating some of the small victories. So that's the point of the stream. So thank you.
Yeah. I loved it. The idea of you coming out here to do this. Yeah, I mean, you do a great job of communicating things. I mean, but the truth is, I need to be better. I'm the point of the most information for all of Clink, and I don't do a very good job of communicating to the designers yeah, like where we're at. I feel like my job is to just make the best hat I can make everyone's embroidery look great, make sure everyone's hats are getting delivered to them on time, all that stuff. And I lose sight of the fact that this is a community that maybe requires a little more attention than I've been giving it. So I hope to do better. But anyway.
I think you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
You've gone from 6 pre-orders every week for the last 5 years.
4 years, yeah.
4 years, okay. And you've almost essentially doubled the amount available. So we'll get into more of that later. But you have different offerings now other than the regular pre-order. You got fresh colorways and dead stock drop and shock drops, which we'll cover.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, time is limited for everyone, and you might not have the most time all the time because there's only so many hours in a day, but you do your best. So
I am always doing my best, and I think people see that. The majority of my work with the Clink Room is shit that's not fun. It's customer service, making sure that have the best customer service in the industry, making sure that we're dealing with production issues and how things are being stored in the warehouse. I mean, the warehouse, we have a great team now that really does a great job, but it's still constantly like something to fix. And so 90% of my working life is that. 10% is the design, and that leaves like no time for anything else. And we're growing too. Like you said, we went from 6 pre-order designs. Now we're doing 14 different styles a week. And, there's a market for it there. And I feel like I owe it to, if you aren't a designer, you might not know that in order to get one of your logos in the Clink Room, you have to sign the rights over to us. Now you get lifetime royalty rights, 10% of sales goes to you, but you're handing it over, and we do that for a lot of reasons. It's cleaner. Like, if we own it, we control it, but versus like having all sorts of different variations on ownership. So it's always been that way, and it has made things really simple. But it's made me also feel like shit. Some of these logos are amazing. I mean, all these logos are amazing. I don't put anything I don't love in the shop. Yeah. So it deserves to get reissued, and people miss things the first time. And there's new customers that may be hesitant about the pre-order system, and they can buy a hat that ships tomorrow. And so that's really important. And so I think our offering is meeting our demand. And I owe it to the designers to maximize their work. So
yeah, we see it all the time too. If you're active in the buy sell trade group, you'll find a new guy or a new lady that just discovered it, and like, hey, these are 5 logos. that I want? Who's got this in a quarter?
Yeah.
And then more times often than not, like someone will be like, hey, that just released on a fresh colorway, or this is coming back. And
and I think we're learning constantly too. I mean, I don't know how much more we're going to get into the fresh color selection, but we're constantly learning. I mean, you guys are going to start seeing different logos being selected. It won't just be Frenchies over and over again. Although who doesn't love Frenchies? Yeah.
They do well. They do well.
But
all right, let's get into the first part of it. So basically, I labeled this section Clink 365, kind of give people a reminder of some of the changes. Sometimes we get lost in the weeds, and it feels like it's always been like this, but this hasn't been that long for some of these things that we're going to talk about.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, everything is still so fresh and still changing constantly. And the whole business is just totally feels new to me. And it feels like this new problem to solve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So let's cover the first thing. So the first thing, I did a little bit of research. Didn't take a long time, but I went to your website. We figured out 1,304 styles in the production tracker.
That's crazy. Honestly, I think we might have more, I'd have to look into that, but that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know. 6 new logos a week. And it's pretty remarkable what this community has built and what we've built together. I'm very proud to be a part of it.
These are huge numbers. So 24 in pre-order right now, that stage, the 67 pre-production, 83 sample approved, 172 now shipping. So that's a huge number.
It's big.
22 recently delivered, closed out. I guess we're in the stage of kind of waiting.
I think that now shipping and delivered thing, we probably need to clean that up.
Yeah.
The sold out means like closed, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I guess now shipping would be anything in the shop currently, right? So dead stock, and so that number actually does make sense. Okay. We've actually just recently started improving, I think, the status updates on production tracker. I have dreams of someday this being like closer to like what you get from Amazon or something like that. But that's far away. Someday, maybe.
For sure. All right, cool. Next thing we want to talk about is fresh colorways. So can we talk a little bit about like your philosophy behind introducing, because this was a radical change
it was a big move. Yeah. Well, I mean, when production went back online and New Era basically said, well, you can order as much as you want, I thought, well, we should start offering more. There's demand. Clink has grown in a straight line essentially for 4 years.
Yeah.
There was a dip there when the production went down where people were nervous, I think, and rightfully so, about like when thing would come back, when production would come back, and I'll always be grateful for everyone who stuck it out with us. But yeah, when New Era said basically you can order as much as you want, I was like, well, let's try some things. So fresh colorways was our first dip into that. Let's re-release some of these. And like I said, these logos deserve to be reissued over and over again. And I love the idea of guys getting repaid for work that they don't have to do. That's like the dream, right?
Yeah.
So, Clink is a lot more like a record label in that sense, just paying out royalties and supporting our artists. And that's my dream. Yeah.
And then the dead stock drop, I think, is a good way for people to kind of either didn't know about it, maybe budgets, they couldn't order the pre-order, and or misjudge the mock-up. I mean, that happens.
Yeah, some things don't look great in pre-order, and they arrive, and people, rightfully so, lose their mind over it. Because sometimes I have a vision of where to take the embroidery that maybe people don't fully isn't communicated on in the pre-order stage. But yeah, no, dead stock. So that just came from we used to order the exact amount that we sold. And shit goes wrong. Hats get dirty. Beanies pop up. Yeah, right. Things get lost in the mail. And it felt really wrong, especially when it took a year for stuff to arrive. It felt really wrong to not get someone their hat. It's hard to describe how horrible that felt.
Yeah.
So we started adding on a little bit more. And it's proportional to how many you sold. And then people also cancel some. So it's never much, honestly.
Yeah.
If you see stuff in dead stock, it's pretty limited still. That's why we release so many styles at once. We're releasing them in dozens, 2 dozens at a time. It's just because it's not, it's less quantity units, like doing a fresh colorway release. A fresh colorway release is more units than like a dead stock release, but like just spread out across more SKUs, more styles. So yeah.
for me, it's really interesting because you can kind of see people slowly get their mail calls, and then the hype slowly builds. Like, damn, I missed that one. Like, oh, don't worry, it'll be on dead stock. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't. Yeah, you got to get in. Yeah,
it's a cool way to do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a really clean system, and then stuff that once things get down to 1, 2, 3s, they just kind of slow down. They call it the long tail, right?
Yeah.
Like slowly. And so that's what the mystery hat has become. It's really, and mysteries, people freaking love mysteries too. I think the price is right, and there's good stuff in it. I think every Clink hat is amazing. I mean, especially when you get in hand. Our embroidery is better than anyone in the industry, in my opinion. And you get that hat in hand, even if it didn't look great on the site. Like it always is great. So
I think one person I talked to, shout out to Weston, but he said one of his first purchases was the 3-pack of mystery.
Yeah.
And it was good for him because he didn't own any Clink hats.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so he had some in pre-order, but he didn't own any in hand. So
yeah.
he's like, I'll take the mystery. It's cheaper, and whatever arrives. And
that's a great way to build your collection. Yeah. So twice a year, we're going to do our mystery hat sales, basically, where you do 3 for $99. And I think that's a great way. But, there's great stuff in there now. And I sprinkle in things, there's gold Clink hats that are in there. I'm about to sprinkle some new stuff in. Yeah. The new surprises. So
you've done sample pieces in the past.
Yeah. Like random stuff. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Definitely.
Awesome. All right. So I get to really thank you for this one because I don't know. At the time, this was when you approached with that, I'm like, yes, whatever you want.
Well, you're always gung ho for everything.
Yeah. The collaborative pack. So I think I overgave. I think I submitted 50. You're like, well, we got enough. But just what a blessing it was to be able to play with the catalog, pick what I liked.
Yeah.
This was an awesome process. But what is amazing is that there's more coming. So other people get their shot too. So
yeah. So you were our guinea pig on this. Thank you for being that. The best part of Clink is the collaborative part. It's the best. It's my favorite. I love seeing designers like Joseph at Win Studios improve drastically. So many people have just become these incredible designers, have come so far. And it's my favorite part. And so I'm always trying to think of new ways to include the community. And so for people that can't maybe design their own logo, I want to be like, how can they participate? So you were our guinea pig. I asked you, hey, put together a pack of 6. And I love the pack you put together. It's things I would have never picked, logos I would have never picked, colorways I would have never picked. And I think you did a great job, and sales reflect that. And it got me excited for the future. So so now you're going to see that a lot more into the future. If you're a regular clinker, one of our bigger clinkers, bigger collectors, you already are probably in the process of creating your collection. And I love that. I love that it's a community built thing. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think this reminds me of that week you had when you teamed up some of your top buying customers with some of your top artists, and they got to
they got to do that. That was cool.
That was a cool thing.
Yeah, special events like that, I want to bring more of that back. But anything that sort of breaks from the sort of regular rhythm of the week is so much extra work for me. Yeah. And I'm already kind of stretched so thin, so I have a hard time doing those extra things. But I would love to do more stuff like that. But yeah, anything to get people collaborating.
For sure. All right. Moving forward. Side patches. So this is a hot topic issue. I think it was a perfect time to do it with trying to capture new clientele potentially. Yeah. That MLB collector, the kind of hype beast. But yeah, I guess straight from your mouth, like what were some of the thoughts behind adding a side? Because you've always played with side patches in some way.
Yeah, which I love you bringing up that point. This morning, Leon brought up this idea that, we've been doing side patches before anyone wanted to do side patches. Side patches as a concept were brought in just a few years ago, I think. And so we've always been messing with it. Look, we're storytellers and we're kind of maximalists, obviously, when it comes to our logos. And so the idea of having a new opportunity to tell an additional part of the story was really exciting to me. And frankly, I think we can do better storytelling than like, a World Series logo or like a, stadium logo on the side. So I don't think we've found it perfectly yet. I think some have been total hits.
Yeah.
It's not exactly fully where I want it to be, but I think we're getting there. And I'm looking at some hats off in the distance here in the studio that we can't talk about. I think that the side patch makes the hat better.
Yeah.
I also hear people that they don't want as many of it, and I hear that too. We went off of that too. So I think with fresh colorways in the future, you're going to see more of a mixed with and without. I've got some new side patches on the way that I think are better storytelling, even better storytelling than we've done. So I don't know. I want to just keep experimenting and try things, and yeah.
I think the big part too is what people don't see behind the scenes is sometimes you have to deal with other things that are not in your control, like new era legal and getting things approved.
Oh, well, that for sure.
And certain subjects that are harder to get.
Yeah.
So we won't get too much into the weeds with that because it's part of that's part of the hat.
We have a remarkable amount of free reign, so I'm definitely not complaining at all. But yeah, there's all that kind of stuff. I think Clink is such an interesting, unique thing, and if you want something unusual, you're going to do. If you want something that not everyone has, it's the Clink Room.
Yeah.
And I think the side patch is just yet another way to differentiate us. And it may feel like we're sort of trying to copy the MLB stuff, but I don't look at it that way. I think what we're doing is really unusual. It's also an opportunity to brand. We don't get tags, so if I could put Clink on the side of a hat, I think it's a great branding opportunity. In fact, that first round of side patches, I wish that I had hidden the Clink Room script in there somewhere, as a way to sort of brand the thing. I mean, we obviously have the back hit, that's great branding, but to say the Clink Room somewhere on a hat, I think is really cool. But
that goes without saying. I mean, you have so many celebrities wearing your stuff now, and then without sounding so thirsty, people be like, "Hey, what hat is so and so wearing?" And you don't want to be the guy like, "That's my hat," So having the built-in brand is really, really smart.
I think the side patches work the way for MLB as they do for us. It's a storytelling opportunity. Yeah.
And I think too, looking through your sketchbooks through the years, you've been a part of that branding with the teams, minor league, major league, and kind of having that piece kind of gets you to flex that part that you.
Yeah. A lot of these logos that are being used, we did them.
Yeah.
So I know how to make a side patch.
All right.
I've been doing it for 25 years.
Perfect. All right. This is
not clear in here. We are dying.
This is a sauna session. But for the video, we've turned off the AC, so you get to see us sweat a little bit.
Red Star shirts.
But I'm glad I didn't wear a jersey today.
That's a really good call.
But 20 crits. So this kind of was it kind of changed here and there. The first time I remember doing it was it kind of fit with our vacations. So it was like a way to have bigger crits weeks, but you remember it differently. So let's talk about it a little bit.
You're talking about the move from 10 to 20?
I think, it was like 10 to 15 to 20.
Yeah, so we just have so many designs submitted. I'm spoiled for choice when I have to pick. I found the backlog of things to pick really piling up, and that stressed me out. But then Instagram made it the ability. I mean, so much of Clink systems are because of what Instagram, sort of locks us into. Even the idea of dropping 6 hats a week, we do that because most 95% of people shop on their phone, and 2 hats side by side look better than 3 hats side by side or 2 hats side by side. So, going with 6 versus 8 versus 10, it's just 6 looks good on a page, So much of it is dictated by just, what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. So back in the day, just a few months ago, they only would let us do 10 per post, and now they let us do 20. So I thought, well, let's do 20. Why not? We have the stuff,
Yeah.
And when it comes to crits, crits is a show first and foremost. Like, to me, it's like I think there are some people that follow Clink just for the crits because the work is so creative, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I look at it and I'm like blown away. Even if the execution isn't great or the colors are weird or whatever it is, I'm like, it's still so fun. Like, I mean, I think you guys see that sprinkled in. I am trying to find good logos and logos that can be in the shop on Friday. I mean, definitely quality of rendering. How much work do we have to do to prep it? How good is it going to look in embroidery? You know, the first step, you know, like a good chef, like would say like it starts with the ingredients, right? It starts at the farm. And I feel that way about our logos. Like people say, like, how do you get such good embroidery? And I think it's because I know how to pick logos and adjust logos so they look good in embroidery first and foremost. I mean, we do other things that instructions like interact with New Era on how to get the best embroidery, but it's without like a good ingredients, without the good first logo, it's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, anyway.
And I think some of the unsaid things too, like you're giving a shot to more artists to get the exposure.
Sure.
It gives me more content to
talk about
during the show. So it's like it's a whole event, and you know, Sundays with the Clink Room, it's for the collectors, but more so it's for the designers to get that instant feedback. It's like a focus group for them to really see what's working and what's not. So
I think it's great. I should join in more. You know, I think I always debate like how much I should be involved, how much I should be steering. I worry that people take too much of what I say as gospel, even though I am kind of picking and choosing everything. But I do think, you know, it's fun when someone comes in with a new energy, right? Like Rick Clifton is a great example of someone who has a totally unique voice for Clink, and his subject matter is different, his rendering style is different. It's, you know, he knows obviously how to design for embroidery. And so it's so awesome when we get a new voice. And I would hate for him to feel like he is limited in his creativity. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. This one's a huge one. So this was something you kind of told me in confidence, but I'm making it public. So
I said I've debated a long time whether we talk about this. So in November, December, we should pay out our $1 millionth in royalties.
Huge.
So pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I know. I am really proud of it. And you know, you can do the math on how much hats we've sold. We sell, you know, we give 10% to all of our designers. So it's a lot of freaking hats, man. I just can't thank the collectors and customers enough. It's unbelievable how far we've come in a little over 4 years.
Yeah.
And Clink, again, it's like it grows at like this ridiculously steady rate. It's pretty amazing. And I'm just so grateful. And how cool is it to be able to say that we did that? It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I still can't barely wrap my head around it.
That's good. That's
crazy.
Nuts. Just putting it back into the community with the designers and give people a platform to create, because we grew up looking at these hats and thinking, you know, like almost idolizing the stars that wear them, along with the teams that, you know, brand them, and for people to just come off the street and just be like, hey, I made that.
Yeah, totally right. So not only is it hard to get your hat put on, your logo put on to a New Era, right? Mm-hmm. But to have it done really well by a guy that's been doing it for 25 years, I think Clink is a special thing.
For sure.
And to be drafted into that family, it's a club too, right? I mean, it's like a club of people that is really cool. I hope everyone that has had even a single hat made feels special, because they deserve to feel special.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right. So now we're into the discussion and suggestion part. So this is where we really start sweating. But I've done my best to kind of try to curate some questions and concerns throughout the community, artists, collectors, whomever. So if you see something that we didn't address, put it in the comments and we'll do our best to address them. So first and foremost, with Christmas coming up, one of the gift card amounts should be the rough cost of a hat.
A single hat. Yeah. I think this is a great idea. I mean, I don't know if we can do a full, because I mean, taxes are different for different counties in California, let alone for different states. So, and then shipping is always different, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then depending on how much you get is always different. But I think something closer to a single hat number is a great idea. So we should totally do that.
Yeah, so I think I saw on the website it was $25.50, then it goes to $100. So something in between.
Yeah, like a 75, a 65, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Right, and then if you're getting a mystery versus a pre-order versus a fresh colorway or a dead stock, it's different too, right? So, but I think something closer to that is a great idea. I love it. I would love to do physical ones too. That would be cool.
Oh yeah,
like something you could open for Christmas. Maybe I'll try to hustle something out like that. But again, anything outside the normal like that is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those things people just take for granted, like, you know, physical gift cards with a scratch. You know, people see that as a piece of plastic.
I mean, we did it. We used to do it. Clink 1.0 had them actually, but I filled them out by hand. I can't do that anymore.
That's a lot of work.
No, so we need to be able to do that. I don't even know how you would do that. Maybe there's some sort of plug-in or some system out there that can do it, like print them and ship them. I don't know. I have to look into it. But those pin packs, for instance, you know, that was like a totally new thing, and those were an awesome hit. You know, I mean, people love those things, but that was a year and a half to 2 years in the making. I mean, it was long. It was really hard. I mean, once you even get the product made, then you have to figure out how, like, a totally different path to like set them up in the shop and market them. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. How do you ship them? Right.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Bring back leaks. So for those unaware, uninformed with this, would like just have thematic drops potentially. Maybe we can curate different. Like this week we're bringing back the Taco League, or this week we're doing Dog League or something like that. So just a way to get the designers to hone in on a specific theme, possibly.
So the whole history of the leagues was, you know, we didn't have a rolling constant. The Clink 1.0 wasn't a rolling constant contest, right? People could submit. So originally, when we started selling hats, it was to sell deep cut stuff that Brandiose had done, or other minor league stuff that we had done. And then when I thought, it might be fun to open it up to people. There's all these amazing designers that were reaching out, being like, hey, I'd love to work with Brandiose. And there's so much talent out there. And I was like, okay, well, what if we did a league? So I think our first thing was the Taco Shop League. Create a logo that felt like it was a part of a league that was all Taco Shop themed. And it was a hit. I mean, some of our designers that are still designing with us today, Aaron Bird, they were part of our first EFRA, you know, at Chimuco. They were part of our first rounds of contests for those leagues, and it was awesome. And then the leagues became sort of like, well, I was like sort of inspired. It was like homework, kind of like solve this problem. So the Confection League, I don't remember what we did. We did so many. The Candy League, the Pets League, at some point I realized they don't need it. Yeah. That people kind of see what they want. Yeah. Right. They see the themes already, you know. I mean, you could bucket things into the Grim Reaper League, the Bird League, you know, there's already league, you know, there's I feel like one of our new sort of genres that's hit really well is like this, like, it's almost like a landscape, right? Everything from what Ryan Simmons is doing to, you know, I mean, there's so many people doing awesome ones, and they look great. And I love those. I think those look awesome. So, you know, I feel like I don't even need to do it. So, but I think bringing the idea of bringing leagues back is a great idea. For sure. Yeah, I think it could be cool. But again, it's always like more work. Well, I mean, I like working, but it's like I would rather, if I had to invest my time, I would rather grow Clink so that everyone's getting, you know, that all the designers are getting more royalties, that we're getting more exposure, that if you're a hardcore collector, like I want your old stuff to go up in value. Like the growing Clink is good for everybody. And I would rather do that, and I'd rather make the product the best I can make it. And you're seeing like faster turnaround times. Like that's what I dedicate my time for. I mean, we've cut shipping times like really low. If you're watching this now, like we're shipping this week, like another round of pre-orders. Like my goal is to shorten it, and we've really shortened it. So that's good. Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else they gave. So so a lot of things that have come up is what sort of things are you doing to kind of detect tracing and AI?
Yeah. So I think there's probably some people using AI more than others. I think there's been some obvious flagrant sort of uses of it that I don't like. It's really hard. It's really hard. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything. That's not fair. I think it's also a useful tool. And then now you get into like how much of it is yours. If you're tracing it, are you taking parts of that AI did and adding your own thing? Is that okay? I don't know. All I can say is that I'm a designer too. You know, this shit is trained on my work for the last 25 years, right? Yeah. So I feel a kind of way about it, but I also think like it's only going to get harder for me. And so I can just do my best. I mean, I try to get proof, but you can fake that too. I don't know, man. It's tough, you know. I just all I can ask for is the people's support that I also see it that I want to do best by all of our designers, and some things are going to get through, and again, it's a tool, so some people are using it, I think, in a way that's probably okay, but I don't know. It's fucking tough, man.
It's tough because there's designers out there that really worked on their craft and really got better, and that line, like we talked about yesterday, sometimes that's not a straight line for most people. And you know, so to really get out there and know, I feel like it's tough sometimes because you don't want to ever accuse anyone of doing something that they're not. And
right, totally. And it's a community, and it's going, and it moves fast, and I mean, it's just tough, man. I don't know. I see it, and I also like am suspect of some things, but I also ultimately look at the art and I think, well, these are good ideas. The AI coming up with those too? I don't think so. I mean, we fuck around with it too for first drafts, not with designs. We've never done that at Brandiose, but with like first drafts of like naming kids clubs or something. You know, it's like come up with 10 words for a kids club 10 names for kids club that incorporate these elements, you know. And I don't think we've ever even used anything straight out of the box, but it does get things moving. And what's the difference between that and like looking at some other person's, you know, my office here, you can see it's packed with other people's design work. And if I told you like, oh, like that logo I did for the whatever team is referencing this 20th century French cheese trademark, you'd be like, oh shit, it really does. You know, I can see some DNA in that, right? And I guess effort is the difference. Like I went and found that stuff. I went and AI goes and finds it for you, but I don't know. It fucking sucks, man. Yeah. We're in a weird world. I hate it too, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're in a weird spot.
It's a weird world.
Another thing, so reusing other people's concepts. So, I mean, this one's tough because some things are like motifs and, you know, like things that exist, like the Grim Reaper. No, I don't know who the original inventor of the Grim Reaper is, but, you know, there's other.
You're talking about in history?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it could be from the Renaissance or something, right?
Yeah, but like some of those things I think are free reign. If anyone wants to do a Reaper, they should be able to do a Reaper. But then some things get a little derivative and a little close, like
maybe.
And it's hard with so many submissions to really keep track of like who did what and whatever. But I always feel like people should like kind of operate with good intention in mind. And some you see do and some you see don't. So that gets tough.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think it's also, you know, is it okay for someone to do a sequel to someone else's logo if it was all done by Clink, right? I mean, I think you should probably ask for permission. You know, no one can own the concept of a Grim Reaper. I think, you know, Tony's done great ones. John Inc. has done great ones. Like everyone's done good ones, you know. Joseph Reamer's the latest to do some really awesome ones. I love his ones that he twists the sort of, he puts them in Hawaiian shirts or he puts them in tie-dye, you know. I think it's fun. Like, you know, I think it doesn't, no one can really own that. And people have an appetite for it, and they want to collect it, so why not? I mean, I think there's probably some people that just collect Reaper stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think we should be able to do that too. I don't know. I mean, if I felt like sales and like the fervor for it were being affected because we were recycling ideas, I don't even like to think of it as recycling. I just think it's a new twist on a story. If it's got to feel fresh. I mean, I feel like you look in the shop and everything feels fresh to me, but maybe I'm biased.
Yeah. We saw this kind of come up where someone was complaining about there being too many series. So an example of this would be like an artist doing an origami series, or I think of Donovan with the llama series.
Yeah.
That was Seamus. But I personally like the series.
I love it too.
So
I mean, I come from the comic book world.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've been a comic book collector, going to Comic-Con since I was 12 years old. Before it was at the convention center. And I love like an alternate cover, right? Which to me is the fresh colorways. That's all it is. It's like the all blacked out cover of whatever, of X-Men, you know, whatever it is, or the chromed cover, or, you know, I love that stuff. And I also love when they do an alternate cover, right? When you have a guest artist do a new version of a classic comic that you love. Like, how exciting is that to see Jim Lee redo something that some other awesome guy did, right? I mean, it's freaking the best to me. So I like it. If you don't like it, don't buy it. I don't know.
I mean, one of my favorite series is the Sham series.
The Sham series is amazing, right? To me, those are sequels. It's like movies, you know. But people bitch and complain about sequels, right? There's too much Star Wars. Like, well, they don't watch it. Like, you know, I got Chewbacca tattooed on my leg for a reason. Like, I want more is more. You know, The Acolyte might not have been like the world's greatest show, but it's people. Every week I get a new hour of people fighting with lightsabers. Like, if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
The last one for this, so getting feedback. So this would be more so about artists getting feedback from you. So like, why did something not make it? Some artists get maybe some feedback and then they rework it and then it gets put into the shop. So like, I guess this thing is just more of a PSA for the artist. Like, everyone's relationship is going to be different to you.
Right.
And I know you don't mean it, but sometimes if people hit you up and it's the wrong timing, you know, I don't think your intention is ever to blow someone off.
Oh, no, absolutely not. The truth is, I'm just so overwhelmed. The amount of work the Clink requires to keep it running is monumental. You know, there is a hierarchy of what makes someone more likely to get in the shop. And I think it's number one is idea, always idea. I mean, that goes back to the AI. Like, if someone just used AI to pitch me a good idea and we had one of our designers redo it, like, is that okay? You know, I don't need the AI, but what if they did it? Like, is that tainted? Does that ruin the idea? So the idea is number one. I can always make it look good. If it's a good idea and it's well executed, so I don't, like, me and my team don't have to spend, you know, 6 hours redoing it completely. I mean, I'll redo some things, but I can't redo all 6. So I have to pick my battles. And then some things just don't embroider well. And like I was saying about the raw materials, like, it's got to be good raw materials. So there's been some ideas that I've pitched to people that I thought were great, that I've pitched to insanely talented people, and we failed to find a way to show it in a way that would look good embroidered, you know? So that happens too. If you have a direct path to me, if I've offered you my phone number or my email or something like that, and you get feedback, like, you're in a very, very small group of people. It's not too many. And it's probably also likely that you take feedback really well. Even really talented people have fallen by the wayside because they don't adjust well. Like, I'm like, this is great, you need to redo the composition, and if they feel like it's too much to redo it, which I totally get, like, this, you know, but I'm just not, like, no harm, no foul, you know. And then some people are so good they need more hand holding, you know. I mean, and not because they aren't great designers, but because the concept is a challenge, maybe, or it's really ambitious, and they're, you know, so things just take a long time. But frankly, it all goes back to that, how much outside of my normal path of work does a project take me. The more it takes me, like, it can be years to get done, and it's just the way it is. So someday, hopefully, I hope that we have the budget that I could pay someone to solve all the customer support issues and the shipping issues and negotiating with FedEx and all that stuff. But for now, I got to do it all.
I think is a good place to kind of end it. But just know that your intention is to sell someone a hat, to get it to them as soon as possible with the best quality and the best outcome.
Embroidery.
Like there's no holding back.
No. And I mean, there's very few people that I would. Yeah, Clink is an amazing community. Like everyone has been amazing. There's very few people that have been nasty to us. And 99.99999% of people are awesome and understand that we have the best intentions and that we're generous with our refunds and that we try to make things right. I think we have great customer service, and if you're a designer, I'm trying to. I'll try my best to get back to you, but it just shit takes a long time. Yeah.
All right, that was fun. Thank you so much for.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out, man.
Being on the hot seat.
Literally.
But
how far? I didn't sweat through my shirt as much as I thought. It's pretty good. I can't wait to turn the AC back on.
We got our sauna session in, but again, we'll try to do this as often as possible. We'll try to be more open to receive and give communication. But this has been great. This has been awesome.
I thank you for everything you do, man. I love it. My favorite part is that these designers get the attention they deserve because they deserve it.
Yeah.
So it's awesome, man. Thanks for being here.
All right. For Casey and Leon, we're out of here.
Peace. Thanks, everybody.
Brought to you by VFTV.